Volpe holds. Here's a pitch. Swing on drive to left. Deep to left. Carry. Goodbye! Big G does it again! A two-run.
Picture this. The 10th inning. The game is tied. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a Louisville slugger. Every pitch feels like a pressure cooker about to explode. And then it happens. A familiar figure steps up to the plate, the weight of the moment on his shoulders. With one thunderous swing, the bat cracks, the crowd erupts, and the ball soars into the night sky. It's a moment of pure, unadulterated baseball magic. That was the scene last night, and it was just the beginning. Welcome to Baseball Extra, your home for the most in-depth baseball coverage on the internet. Today is Thursday, August 21st, and what a day of baseball we have to break down. The New York Yankees flirted with perfection and launched an assault on the record books with a historic power display. The Philadelphia Phillies put on a performance that will be talked about for generations. We saw a rookie's dream come true in the most emotional way possible, and the playoff races are tightening up with every single pitch. We're going to dive deep into all of it. So grab your glove, settle in, because this is going to be a good one. All right, let's start in the Bronx, or rather, down in Tampa, where the Yankees were visiting the Rays. The big story of the night initially wasn't the bats, but the arm of a rookie pitcher, Cade Povich. When a young pitcher gets the call up to the big leagues, the goal is simple: prove you belong. But last night, Povich wasn't just trying to belong. For 6 incredible innings, he was chasing immortality. Through the first, the second, the third inning, no one reached base. Povich was in a zone. His fastball had life. His breaking ball was untouchable. As he walked out for the 4th and 5th innings, the whispers started. The announcers were talking around it. The dugout was silent, and the scoreboard told the story. 0 hits, 0 walks, 0 errors. By the time he came back out for the 6th, everyone knew what was happening. He was just 9 outs away from a perfect game. You could feel the electricity in the stadium. The Rays hitters looked completely baffled. Povich mowed them down, one by one. 18 batters came up, and 18 batters sat right back down. For a rookie to be that composed, that dominant, on that stage, it was simply breathtaking to watch. History, however, is a cruel mistress. In the top of the 7th inning, with the perfect game still intact, the spell was finally broken. A clean single right back up the middle. And just like that, the dream was over. But let's not let that diminish what we saw. In only his 7th career start, Cade Povich took a perfect game through 6 innings, a feat no Yankees rookie had accomplished since Fritz Peterson all the way back in 1966. It was a glimpse of a potentially brilliant future and a performance that deserved a win. But would the Yankees' offense hold up their end of the bargain? Well, about that offense. Any fears that the Yankees' bats might be tired after hitting 9 home runs the night before were put to rest on the very first at-bat of the game. Trent Grisham stepped in and immediately sent a message, launching a high-fly ball that just kept carrying until it cleared the right field wall. It was deja vu, a leadoff home run that set the tone for the entire evening. But that was just the appetizer. The main course was a relentless display of the legendary Yankees power. The Bronx Bombers, playing on the road, decided to turn Tampa's ballpark into their own personal launching pad. They hit another, and then another. Grisham himself decided once wasn't enough, blasting his 2nd home run of the game later on. It was an awesome display of strength from top to bottom in their lineup. And this Yankees team isn't one-dimensional. While the homers were flying, another key player was making his mark with his legs. Jose Caballero, a blur on the base paths, swiped his 40th bag of the season, becoming the first player in the majors to reach that milestone this year. It's this combination of speed and raw power that makes the current Yankees lineup so incredibly dangerous. They can beat you with a single swing, or they can manufacture a run with hustle and smart base running. So, with the rookie pitcher dealing and the offense firing on all cylinders, you'd think this would be an easy cruise to victory, right? Wrong. This is baseball, and it's never that simple. After Povich left the game, the Rays, to their credit, clawed their way back. They chipped away at the lead and ultimately forced the game into extra innings, putting Povich's brilliant performance in danger of becoming a mere footnote. But extra innings just gave the Yankees more opportunities to do what they do best: hit home runs. In the top of the 10th, with the pressure mounting, Giancarlo Stanton stepped up as a pinch hitter and delivered the knockout blow. He connected on a pitch and sent it soaring deep into the left field seats for a 2-run homer that gave the Yankees a lead they would not relinquish. It was a clutch, defining moment from one of the game's premier power hitters. Just for good measure, catcher Austin Wells added his second long ball of the night, a final nail in the coffin. When the dust settled, the Yankees had won the game, but the story was the staggering numbers. They hit 14 home runs in their last two games. That is not a typo. 14. That ties the all-time MLB record for the most home runs in a two-game span, a record set by the 1999 Cincinnati Reds. And for a wild piece of baseball trivia, who was on that 1999 Reds team and hit the very first home run of that two-game stretch? None other than the current Yankees manager, Aaron Boone. You simply cannot make this stuff up. What an incredible display of Yankees power. From one team making history to another, let's head over to Philadelphia, where the Phillies just finished a three-game sweep of the Seattle Mariners in one of the most dominant series you will ever see. To say the Phillies were hot would be the understatement of the year. They were supernova hot. Over the course of three games, the Phillies lineup racked up an unbelievable 48 hits. Let that sink in. 48 hits in three games. It was a relentless, punishing assault on the Mariners pitching staff. This wasn't just a good series. It was the most hits the Phillies have had in a three-game set since 1999. Everyone was getting in on the action. Tree Turner had a 5-hit game, looking like the superstar the team signed him to be. Bryson Stott and Max Kepler each chipped in with 3 hits in the finale. And then there was Kyle Schwarber. What more can you say about this guy? He added 3 hits of his own, drove in 5 runs, and of course, he hit a Schwar bomb, a towering 2-run shot that traveled deep into the right field bleachers. It was his National League leading 45th home run of the season. The man is a walking highlight reel. This offensive explosion was truly one for the franchise record books, ranking as the 6th most hits in any three-game series in the team's long and storied history. But here's what makes this series truly mind-boggling. It wasn't just the offense. Often, when a team is scoring that many runs, you might see the pitching be just okay. Not the Phillies. In the very same series where their bats were rewriting the record books, their arms were doing the exact same thing. The Phillies' pitching staff struck out the most batters they ever have in a three-game series in over 120 years, dating all the way back to at least 1900. Ranger Suarez started it off with 10 strikeouts on Monday. Christopher Sanchez followed that up with a dazzling 12-strikeout performance on Tuesday. And then yesterday, Jess Luzardo added 12 more of his own. It was utter dominance. And here's the kicker. They did all of this after just placing their ace, Zach Wheeler, on the injured list with a blood clot. To lose your top pitcher and then immediately have the most dominant offensive and pitching series in modern franchise history, that is a statement. It's a message to the rest of the league that right now, nothing can slow the Philadelphia Phillies down. They are clicking on every single cylinder and look like a true World Series contender. You know, for all the talk of home run records and historic performances, sometimes the best moments in baseball are the small, human ones. The moments that remind us why we fell in love with this game in the first place. And we got one of those moments down in Miami during the Marlins game against the Cardinals. Let's talk about a young infielder named Maximo Acosta. He's the Marlins' number 25 prospect, a kid who has dreamed his whole life of playing in the major leagues. He finally gets the call, and the dream becomes a reality. But the start of his big league career wasn't exactly a fairy tale. He started 0 for 8. Now, in the grand scheme of a long career, and 0 for 8 slump is nothing. But when you're a rookie, and every at-bat feels like an audition, when you're desperately trying to prove you belong, that 0 for 8 can feel like 0 for 100. The pressure just builds and builds. Making it even more intense, his family was in the stands, living and dying with every single pitch, waiting impatiently for that magical first hit. Yesterday, in the 6th inning, Acosta stepped to the plate, still searching. He likely just wanted to put a good swing on the ball, maybe find a gap, just get that weight off his back. He did more than that. He connected with a pitch and sent a soaring drive to center field. It just kept going, and it left the park. His first major league hit was a home run. The sigh of relief on his face was immediate. But the best part? The camera instantly cut to his family in the stands. They were exploding with joy, jumping up and down, hugging, high-fiving, a beautiful explosion of pure, unfiltered emotion and pride. As Acosta rounded the bases, he was celebrating like the kid in all of us, screaming with joy and pointing to the sky. It was a perfect baseball moment. That home run, combined with a fantastic start from Sandy Alcantara, who looked like his old Cy Young self, striking out 9 batters over 7 masterful innings, gave the Marlins and their fans plenty to cheer about in a solid 6-2 victory. It was a day that a young rookie and his family will certainly never forget. Now, let's take a spin around the league and catch up on all the other action, because the playoff races are heating up and every game matters. These are some of the key MLB highlights from yesterday. Out west, the NL West race is getting incredibly tight. The San Diego Padres got a huge 8-1 win over the San Francisco Giants, and the tone was set early by an unbelievable defensive play. Fernando Tatis Jr. made a spectacular, leaping catch at the wall, robbing a home run and firing up his entire team. That win was made even bigger by what happened in Colorado, where Shohei Ohtani struggled, giving up 5 runs, as the Los Angeles Dodgers fell to the Rockies. With those 2 results, the Padres are now just one single game behind the Dodgers for the top spot in the division. That is going to be a fantastic race to watch down the stretch. There was some exciting news out of Pittsburgh before their game against the Blue Jays. The Pirates are reportedly calling up their next sensational pitching prospect this Friday. His name is Bubba Chandler, and if you don't know him yet, you will soon. He's ranked as the number 7 overall prospect in baseball and boasts what scouts call a 70-grade fastball, which is basically elite. While the team sees him as a future top-of-the-rotation starter, the plan for now is to use his electric arm out of the bullpen to give the team an immediate boost. Pirates fans have a lot to be excited about. In the NL Central, the Cubs clinched their season series against the Brewers with a tight 4-3 win, a crucial victory in that divisional race. We saw some heartbreak in Arizona. Guardians rookie starter Parker Messick was having a fantastic MLB debut, giving up just 1 run through 6 2/3 innings. He left the game with his team holding a 2-1 lead, which they carried all the way to the bottom of the 9th. But a game-tying blast sent it to extras, and the Diamondbacks ultimately walked it off in the 10th inning, spoiling that great debut. A tough lesson for the young pitcher, but a great performance nonetheless. There was some good news and bad news for the Houston Astros. The good news? They finally scored a run after a brutal stretch of 31 consecutive scoreless innings. The bad news? They gave up 6 runs in the first inning to the Detroit Tigers and couldn't recover, losing 7-2. And finally, let's look at the NL wildcard race. The New York Mets lost a close one to the Nationals, 5-4. Normally, that would be a devastating loss in late August. However, they can breathe a small sigh of relief as they managed to hang on to their slim lead for the final wildcard spot because the Cincinnati Reds also lost, falling to the Angels 2-1. That race for the last playoff spot in the National League is going to be an absolute nail-biter all the way to the finish line. And that just about does it for us today here at Baseball Extra. What a whirlwind of incredible performances we saw. From the historic display of Yankees power and the Phillies' complete and utter dominance to the unforgettable moment of a rookie's first home run, it was a day that reminded us why baseball is the greatest game in the world. The playoff picture is getting clearer, but the races are only getting tighter, and we will be here to break it all down for you every step of the way. If you enjoyed this deep dive into all of yesterday's action and want more content like this, do us a huge favor. Please hit that like button, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.